Hello, Kim.
Good afternoon, G. Oh, I guess it's morning. Well, afternoon, close enough. Hi.
Hi. So this week is the vitamin A week. We
Yep.
know people cannot see during night if they do not have enough vitamin A. So what other symptoms people have? Would you take just let us know? Tell us, what's going to happen if we don't have enough vitamin A.
Yeah, that's interesting about vitamin A because, again, just like you said, most people think, it's pretty much our vision. And what do you think is the number one vitamin A food that most people think when it comes to vision?
So are you saying that if my eyes are dry or if I lose hair, I'm deficient in vitamin A?
Well, not necessarily. So these are some of the deficiencies that a person could have. Some of the things that we could look at. So I know a lot of times people or kids in particular seem to have these little tiny bumps on the backs of their arms, but that can also be the symptom of an essential fatty acid deficiency. Sometimes ongoing acne, but that could also be a sign of something else going on. So just because a person has one or several of these things doesn't necessarily mean it's a vitamin A deficiency. However, it could be something, especially if somebody has several of these things, that might be something that we might want to keep in mind.
Okay, that makes sense. Other than preventing deficiency, what else do people need vitamin A?
So let's look at some of the other benefits. And because, for the past several weeks, we've been focusing on immune, we're going to talk primarily about the benefits that vitamin A does have in the immune system. So first of all, what we're going to look at is the process of oxidation. And the process of browning that oftentimes we might see on an apple once we cut that up, or on a banana, or here, especially in Minnesota, we see the effects of salt on our cars in rusting. Those are all examples of an oxidation process. And what this really means is that this is the result of free radical damage. You've heard of that term, right? Have you ever heard that term? Free radicals?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do hear. Yeah.
So it's a term that I think many people have heard, but they're not really quite sure what the process is. So when we become exposed to things, especially environmental things like cigarette smoke or excessive sunlight exposure. I know last week we talked about sunlight and vitamin D and how important it was, but if we're getting way too much, things like smog, or when we're eating damaged processed oils, what these things do is that they produce these free radicals in our bodies. And what that does is that damages the DNA, which is never good. And it's also promoting aging of our body cells. So just like this apple is deteriorating, that's what's happening in the cells of our body.
Mm-hmm.
So the role that vitamin A plays, it's an antioxidant. And we always want to take our antioxidants together. I said last time that our vitamins and minerals all have friends and work best when they're playing with their friends. So vitamins A and vitamin C and vitamin E are all going to help go against or work against this oxidation process. And that's what helps support the immune system.
Okay. That's
so another thing that vitamin A does is that, just like this guy, we see him, he's going, fighting his bugs.
He's powerful.
Powerful. And that's one of the things vitamin A does, is that it's also very powerful in helping the body resist infection. And by what it does is that it's helping to keep that lining of our mouth and our nose and our throat and our digestive tract healthy. And so that's what's going to make it harder for all those bugs and viruses and bacteria and things to get into our bodies. Another thing that it does is that it is helping to promote our body's defense system. And how it does that is that it is supporting these natural killer cells that we have within our body. So this is just an example of what one of those cells might look like. So these natural killer cells are a very aggressive part of our immune system. And in fact, they can help eliminate cancer cells and even virus infected cells from the body. And then one of the other things that we like is that it's important for our skin and our gastrointestinal tract. So what people don't realize is that our largest organ of the body is our skin. And so it means that that's a very important protection, very important barrier against infections. It's our first line of defense, and vitamin A helps keep our skin healthy.
So this is the good news for ladies.
Yeah, I think for everybody, but particular ladies, because we want to keep ourselves looking as young as possible, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, every ladies really care, I think, care about their skin.
In fact, now that you mention that, when you look at a lot of skincare agents, they do have a lot of compounds of vitamin A in those. So this is case in point why they include a lot of those forms of vitamin A.
Okay.
And so not only skin, but it's also important for our immune system, because about 75% of our immune cells are actually located in the gut. And so again, vitamin A is playing a huge role in keeping all areas of our body in health.
Yeah, good to know. So how can I increase my intake of vitamin A?
Okay. So when you are thinking about vitamin A, your top sources are going to be orange and green. And again, the darker the orange, the darker the green, the better. So we can think of such foods in our fruit category like our cantaloupe, we've got our peaches, we've got mango, we've got apricots. And then if we look at some of our vegetables, our highest sources will be things like broccoli and spinach, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, anything dark green and leafy. So you see all these dark green and orange sources we have here?
Yeah, it's easy to remember dark greens and orange colored fruits and veggies.
Yeah, and then there's going to be some other sources too, like liver is a very high source of vitamin A. But when it comes to vitamin A, I'd like to give a tip for increasing that vitamin A intake. So again, we already said one of the tips is a good way to remember that is dark green or dark orange. Secondly, you really want to eat this at least 3 times a week, which shouldn't be all that hard to do. You know, we've listed a lot of different things here. But because this is another fat-soluble vitamin, it means that the body can store smaller amounts of it. So if we eat this at least 3 to 4 times a week, our vitamin A intake should be pretty good.
Yeah, and that's easy to follow. That's very easy to follow.
And then the last thing is, again, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, it's going to be transported through the body with fat. So make sure that you're always eating these things with a source of fat. So, you know, people might be eating broccoli or carrots with dip, for example, or maybe you're putting some butter on your squash, your sweet potatoes. So, so those are our tips. So
good to know.
So Jean, what about next time? What are we going to be talking about on Thursday?
On Thursday, Heather Carpentier from Chronicles in Health is going to give us tips on how to increase our vitamin A intake.
Awesome. I just saw an article today, and maybe Heather and I will talk about that next time, that people aren't eating many fruits and veggies. So, you know, we might be more deficient in vitamin A than we think we are. So that'll be good.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's a good topic then.
So, and then again, like we like to do is, make sure that our information is always backed up by research and science. So again, for those of you that are looking for more information, here are some of the references that we utilized in putting this together. And with that, I think that's all that I have. Anything else from you, Jean?
Not for today. Yeah, thank you very much, Kim.
Okay, thank you. Thanks
Very
everybody for
helpful.
joining us. Have a good rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.